Good day, good day. So today I'm gonna be discussing one, what caused me to grow my dreadlocks, and two, what do my dreadlocks mean to me. Um, Now, what caused me to grow my dreadlocks? I think that most of us, I don't say most, a great number of us who have dreadlocks, whether it be dreadlocks like mine or even twisted dreadlocks. I think obviously, Bob Marley, because Bob Marley is the most famous dread that a lot of us know of. But so yeah, so obviously he's a he caused excuse me, caused a lot of people and sparked a lot of people to want to get dreadlocks. Um like I said, whether you got locks like mine or twisted locks, I think he was pretty much I think he's pretty much on everybody's list now, man. But there's um people. Ricky Williams is mm, I have two favorite athletes, one in basketball, one in football, and so I would say Ricky Williams is probably my favorite athlete. And Ricky Williams' dress was so dope. I remember watching as a kid, and I would always say, man, I want dreadlocks. So he was definitely a big, person who I admired their dreadlocks, and it caused me to want dreadlocks. So those, let me see, it's so probably Bob Marley, definitely Ricky Williams, and the third influence before I even actually got dreadlocks. So this like people who just caused me to want dreadlocks even more. So those two and the Florida guys. I would always see the Florida guys, and just the way that they would have a few locks. They would have like maybe seven or eight, but they would have a few of them, but they would be very thick. And I always just gravitated to that. I'm like, yo, man, that's so dope. So they were definitely just seeing some of those guys dreadlocks. Um, Definitely made me want to get dreadlocks. I was like, yo, I have to have dreadlocks of my own. Like that's what I want. That I want dreadlocks in my life one day. So just by looking at those guys and how they rock their dreadlocks. Um, Now as I started growing as I started, I gathered the information and got the education on how to just let your hair just grow and get these things which we call freeform locks on the internet. Now as I did that, I was, obviously I found more people to admire. I learned about more people within history, and just ran into more people via social media. So there's people who really just caused me people, or a group of people who caused me to want dreadlocks and the type of dreadlocks I have. And then there's just people who, as I already had them, people who I admire. I greatly admire their hair. People like Mamiya Abu Jamal. Actually, the whole Mamiya and the whole Move organization. Like, if you look up Move, the Move organization of Philadelphia, you'll see that most of them had dreadlocks just like me, and just like a lot of us grow our dreadlocks. Just let it rock out. Like, so that whole group's dreadlocks were dope, man. From Mamiya to Ramona Africa, just that whole group, man. It's just their locks are dope. So I definitely admire their dreadlocks. I discovered Move maybe about 4 years ago or so. Um, who else? Mortimer Plano. A lot of you know Mortimer Plano because he was supposedly Bob Marley's you know elder or Rasta teacher. His dreadlocks to me very 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 powerful on him. So I definitely admire his dreadlocks. And who else? Dedan Kamathi. Dedan Kamathi was the leader, the general of the Mau Mau warriors of Kenya. They were being attacked in by the British. He led a army of his own. And they fought. And they fought in the forests of Kenya. Fought the British. But anyway, if you look him up, like you can see that his like I don't know if he had one in the back or not, like mine. But if you look at him just from the front, there's always pictures of him just looking on the front. He has a very stoic yet regal look on his face. But you can see that he has two dreadlocks. I was calling my dreadlock twin. So he has two dreadlocks. You could just see him hanging down. Actually, they were part of the influence that also inspired the Rastamen back then as well. So that's a little bit, a little tidbit of information. But he's definitely my dreadlock twin. That's definitely someone whose dreadlocks I admire. Um, who else? I'm missing people. Ladine Clark. I think Ladine Clark has some of the dopest dreadlocks I've ever seen. Dopest dreadlocks I've ever seen. Her locks are very powerful as well. So I just someone who's I can just look at a couple pictures of them and admire them for a few minutes. Mamiya, the Move Nine, Ladine, Mortimer. I mentioned Dedan Kamathi. But there's there's YouTubers as well. Dreadtree, and Benny Dread. Those guys have great dreadlocks. Like like I said, sometimes I can just once I come across a picture of certain people, man, and their dreadlocks just pop out at me. They just capture me, and I have to look at them, look at them for a few minutes, and those are like people who I can just admire their dreadlocks because they all have everybody's dreadlocks have their own uniqueness, their own and attached to the person. The dreadlocks had like it makes up that person's whole aura. Everybody has that different aura, that different energy and whatnot. So, but yeah, I think maybe I left someone out, but those are. Oh yeah, and the Muse brothers. I cannot forget them. The Muse brothers were definitely definitely people who I admire their dreadlocks. Again, like I said, there's a bunch of people, so I'm probably forgetting a couple people, but those are the main people who just I admire as far as how their dreadlocks are formed, the uniqueness of their hair. Now, I think that a lot of people, as far as what do my dreadlocks mean to me, I see a lot of people um, asking this question. They ask this question to other people. What does your hair mean to you? Or do you have them just for fashion, or do they mean something / represent something to you? And I think that to think that everyone who grows dreadlocks should have some kind of deeper meaning, or that everyone's dreadlocks should be spiritual to them, is a flawed thought process in itself. Now, I'm not saying that if you think that um dreadlocks you're more powerful with your dreadlocks, that you're a different person, your energy is better with your dreadlocks, um that they hold some kind of representation to you that's deeper than other people's, then fine. I just don't subscribe to that way of thinking. Again, I don't knock it because that's people say that's their beliefs. So I don't want to say that you shouldn't believe that. But my thing is my hang up is that I'm not going to say that because a person doesn't have whatever meaning that I think that dreadlocks should have on them, then I'm not going to say, well, you shouldn't have them, or you're less because you don't have such and such meaning. You know what I mean? So I don't want to dictate what people should be doing and why they should be doing it, like as for me, I don't have no um sacrilegious meaning or some deeper meaning. I think that my dreadlocks are just simply a representation of me, of who I am as a person. Like, you can look at me and see that I'm meant to have dreadlocks like this. Like, even if you don't know me personally, you know that you probably couldn't see me any other way because this just matches my vibe. You know what I'm saying? It just matches who I am as a person. I'm a manly man. I'm a simple person, straight to the point, observant, serious, and among many things. But those things I would say embody um my dreadlocks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just my how I am on the inside, and it's my outward expression, expressed through my hair. So, but so there's not, like, I don't feel like my hair makes me my hair I don't but my hair isn't insignificant to me. It means a great deal to me. I just don't take it as far as saying my locks are my power, or that you shouldn't wear dreadlocks for fashion. If that's what you want to do, fine. I mean, I'd rather a person say, look, I don't have no reason for growing. I just like dreadlocks for fashion or whatever. If you want to do that, fine. I'd rather that than a person who is trying to grow freeform locks or just any locks in general. And I think sometimes people can come off as arrogant and have this separatist attitude when they start growing locks for some reason. Like, meaning, what I mean is that they grow these locks, and I think a lot of times when we grow locks, obviously a great number of us is, because you found some other information as well, and you're into that information, and now, you know, um, you feel like, okay, I'm at this stage in my life now, and I want dreadlocks and I want locks. So then you just kind of start getting the subside. A lot of times people start finding this information and they start getting a little arrogant, start looking down upon people and acting like people are less. And that's what I don't like. I don't like when people, because you have locks and you have some information, some different information than a person has or doesn't have, then people start saying, okay, you should have locks for revolutionary reasons because they then read about some information, and now what you're starting to do is you're starting to force what you learned and how you feel about the information that you learned upon other people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you got to be careful to do that. And that's why I say, look, whatever reason that you have locks, it shouldn't, it doesn't really matter. Of course, I think all of us who have locks, you want people who have them like you. You want those people to represent it. That would be ideal. You want those people to represent it in a certain way. But you gotta understand, man. Like, everyone who grows locks isn't they ain't in it. That doesn't mean that they know less than you, though. Y'all might have the same information. They might have more information than you, to be honest with you, but they just choose to grow their hair. They just they may just like the look of locks, and and they say, hey, I want locks. That's what it is. So, are they any less, or like, is their hair any less significant because they don't have a reason attached to it? And like I was starting to say, like, sometimes somebody can have locks, but they may be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? Like, they might not. They probably, and I mean, this is I don't want to say majority. I don't want to say that. I found that a lot of people who I've ran into or I have seen on the internet, interacted with, yeah, they have locks similar to mine, or they have locks in general, but that's not who that person is. You know what I mean? Like outside of them just being on the internet, or they may, that doesn't determine who a person is at all. So, and that's why I say for me, man, it's just an outward expression. It's just how how I want to express myself. It just goes with my vibe. It goes with my how I'm wired, and that's it. Now, again, it's not insignificant to me. They hold some meaning to me. It's just not. Again, I just don't think that I'm a powerless person without my dreadlocks. Um, I don't think that I don't know. I don't think that my locks hold bad energy. Again, and I'm not knocking a person who believes that. So, because I know people are gonna watch this video and they're gonna say, they're gonna think that I'm saying that that belief is tomfoolery. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you believe that, fine, and that's cool. But basically, what I'm saying is that don't force that thought and that belief on other people who have locks, because it's a flawed thought process. Because you again, because now you're saying that every single person who has locks should subscribe to that way of thinking and that thought process. So that's what I mean by that. I don't think that you're wrong for having that thought. Um, I just like me personally, I just don't see it that way. I don't see that. I can see when people explain it to me about how they think that their hair holds energy. I understand what they're saying when they explain it to me. I just don't, just not my way of thinking. But I think that also, let's try not to dump our thoughts and our ways of thinking as far as hair goes, anything really. But just as far as hair goes, like I don't think that people should be belittling people on the internet because they don't grow their reason for growing locks is not your reason for growing locks. Like, because our people are always asking, you know why did y'all grow y'all locks, and eh, you know did y'all grow up for religious reasons, or did you grow up for spiritual reasons, or did you grow up for you just it's just for fashion. So, and I'm like, man, it's all the same thing, really. Like, it's like I said, I just don't look at people as I hate separatist attitudes, and when people start getting into, what I really elitism, the elitism way of thinking. I hate that. I hate elitism, man. I hate when people start acting like elitists. Whether it just be for hair, whether it be with money and materials. I that really grinds my gears, man. Because I think that I just look at people as people, man, human beings. So um, I try not to get into the whole feeling like finding things to separate me from you and you from me. So look, if someone says, look, they just like to undercut their locks, and they like to style them up, and they like to whatever they like to do with them. If those people want to do that, they should be able to do that without people always constantly questioning them about you're not supposed to do this with locks, you're not supposed to do that with locks. Because look, I always look at these conversations and I look at it like this: a lot of times, people who ask these questions, they have twisted locks. Um, I can say that, well, I never twisted my locks. I never twisted my dreadlocks. So does that make me my hair more authentic, or does it make me more of a dread than you? So that's how people sound. Um, and they don't even realize it. Or they, some of them just don't. They realize it but don't care. But you know, we can all nitpick something, man. So I try not to do that. You know, there's enough. I think it's, look, man. It's. I've been on the internet. Well, I've been in on YouTube, as far just either with my own channel or just looking at YouTube videos for like, man, almost 10 years now. I've been on social media and I've been in, looking at lock arguments for like 5 or 6 years, and it's the same thing. And it's like, man, like, when are we going to stop fussing about these things? But I looked at it like this, man. It's always, as long as there's a new person who comes in, or a new group of people, I should say, and then it's gonna be a new batch of arguments, but about the same stuff. You know what I mean? So people are gonna talk about why people have faux locks and whatnot, and then it's gonna be the same thing. So that's that. So I really don't try. I don't bang my head against the wall on that, because it's gonna go on. It's gonna be the age-old arguments of, why did you have, why, your lock should be spiritual and you should have a reason for it. But so this video right here was just to give a little insight on. I don't know if I ever talked about it. I don't know if I ever talked about what made me grow dreadlocks. So now y'all know what this. Those are the things that caused me to grow dreadlocks. And though, and that's what my dreadlocks mean to me. My dreadlocks are basically an expression more than it is a meaning to me. Not insignificant, but I try not to put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to who I am as a person in my dreadlocks. Like I said, I'm not powerless without them. People say that stuff. I mean, I don't know if they actually believe that or not, but whatever. So, but yeah, man, give out a little view of them before I get off, and I'll probably actually have another video this week, actually. But until then, I'm out.